We are up to chapter 20, which is our next to last chapter, and today we're going to be talking about defending with bad cards. This is going to be a relatively short lesson because there's kind of only 2 points to this chapter, and one of them is a little bit too complex for me to actually lead a discussion on. So I'm going to do the best I can with what we have. Okay. So we are on our next to last chapter, so I'm gonna spare you all the normal spiel about card play technique, but we've been working our way through this for a while now. Okay, so this chapter is all about what to do if you are on defense with bad cards, and normally, if you have a whole bunch of bad cards, that's because your opponents are in slam. So this chapter is really a lot about defending against slam, and then as an auxiliary thing, what it focuses on is how to defend against squeezes. And that is the topic that I don't really feel super confident or able to address. I carried out my very first squeeze for the first time on stream last week. So being able to spot how a squeeze is being set up and then take preventative actions against it is not something that I feel like I can really carry on a discussion about too well. But we are going to look at one example of it. I'm going to do my best that we can with it, and other than that, I would highly recommend going to the book here. But there are a couple of other things that this chapter discusses that I think are relatively straightforward and are also pretty interesting. So the very first thing I want to talk about is what do you do when you're looking to make an opening lead against a slam? And there's kind of two different ways that we can make an opening lead. We can have a passive opening lead, or we can have a very active opening lead. And that's going to depend a lot on what you see in the bidding. If the opponents have given you a lot of information that like maybe what they're trying to do is avoid losing 2 tricks rather than trying to establish winners, those are going to be places where it's going to be very important to try and set up a much like an aggressive, take an active approach to your opening lead. If you think that it's more likely that they have to, that they have things that they need to establish, suits that they need to work on, those are places where your passive leads can be a lot more helpful. And then a very special type of bid that can come in when you're defending against slams is something called the Lightner Double. So I've heard about Lightner Doubles for a while, but I had no real sense of what they were or why you would use them. But the book does a pretty good job of explaining it. I thought this was nice. It usually means it's asking your partner to make an unusual lead. It's saying, usually what that would mean is like take a look at your hand, take a look at like the auction, and then all the things that you might normally lead from that auction, ignore them and do something totally different. This normally means leading like an opponent's suit. And the reason why you would want to do that is your partner has a void in that suit, or maybe they have a tennis over a suspected king or something like that. These are going to be ways that you can, these are like what you're hoping to do is take 2 quick tricks right off the top. Doubling a slam for penalty is almost never going to happen unless like it's a sacrifice situation. Like it's a slam contract. You're expecting your opponents to be able to take almost all of the tricks just off the top. They have the majority of the points. They have the best cards. They have the good distribution. So like taking it down undoubled versus doubled is not really going to matter that much. So you can use this double to show a very special type of situation, and hopefully get your partner off to the lead that they wouldn't be able to figure out on their own. So I thought this was pretty interesting. I'm not sure how often it comes up, but we'll look at a couple of examples. And then I know I said a whole lot about how I'm not very good at this, but I'll make a couple of notes about if you want to defend against squeezes. Remember, there's kind of 2 big parts to a squeeze. Well, 2, that's probably not the right way to phrase it. But there's a couple of different moving pieces, right? First, the declarer has to rectify the count. When they go to set up their squeeze, they can only have one more loser. They can't have any more. They can only have one more loser in their hand. If the declarer can't rectify the count, then they can't actually set up a squeeze. And then the other thing that the declarer has to do is have a link between their hands. If you can find a way to attack that link, if you can prevent them from using that link back and forth between the link between the 2 hands, then that's another way that you can stop them from carrying out the squeeze. So those are just kind of things to be aware of. This is something that they say comes up, that the book was pointing out, like you might be more likely to see this come up in a slam auction, because those are going to be the places where the opponents might need to, like, I don't know, those might be some of like the easier places to see a squeeze and set up a squeeze. So these are places where it might also be easier for you to spot it on defense. But these kind of situations can come up in any auction. We're going to be looking at a 3-no auction with our one example. Let's take a look at a couple of opening lead problems. Okay, so we're looking at this auction. So South opened 1 heart, North bids 3 diamonds, and then continues to bid diamonds just a whole bunch. And South drops us in 6-no. So we are sitting West, and we need to figure out what we want to lead against this contract. We have a guaranteed winner in our hand with the Ace of Hearts. So now we have a question about what we need to do, what else we can do. So this is a good question about, this is a good time to think about, like, is it better for us to make like an active lead or a passive lead? A passive lead might be leading like one of the, like a club or a diamond. We're not going to be taking a tricks, but like we might be able to set up something very, very long term. Like we're essentially just leading into what we know the opponents have. But what we know from this auction is that it looks like the opponents are kind of very strong in 2 suits. They have lots of hearts, they have lots of diamonds. This kind of suggests that the opponents are likely don't necessarily need to like set up more winners. What they need to do is make sure that they avoid taking losers. So this is a chance where it might make a lot of sense to do and employ a more active defense. And if we want to do that, what we could look to is leading one of the spades. If we lead a low spade here and we kept partner with like the king, then we are able to set up a trick on, and then we can get in. When we get in with our Ace of Hearts, we have that queen ready to go ahead and cash. And this is really what we want to do against the slam, when we're defending against slams as best we can. We want to try and set up a trick early so that we can, when we get in with our ace later, we can go ahead and cash that trick immediately to set the contract. So against this contract, like looking at this auction, it would make a lot of sense to just go ahead and attack the spade suit. But if this auction had gone completely differently, if it had gone like 2-no, 6-no, for instance, in that case, there's a good chance that the opponents have to maybe set up a suit, that they need to do a little bit of work, that the hand isn't just completely laid out for them. In that case, it would be a really, really bad idea for you to lead these spades. Because maybe one of the big problems that the declarer has on the hand is where is the queen of spades? If you touch the spades for them, that's going to be a chance where you could actually end up giving up a lot. So this is going to be like these active versus passive leads are going to be very dependent on like the information that you're able to gain from the auction and whether or not you think it's more likely that the declarer is going to have to do work to set up tricks, or they're going to be able to avoid, or if they're hoping to avoid taking losers. It's kind of like two different ways to think about this. Okay, this is a very similar kind of auction, except this time our partner has chimed in and doubled. We're sitting east, so we are doing, right? East is the, yeah, east is leading. Okay. I like messed up when I was like putting in the bidding, so I had to like switch it all around in my head. Okay. So in this auction, again, we saw kind of two suited hands. We see diamonds and we see hearts. And then our partner is chiming in and they're doubling. So this is going to be a Lightner Double. So from this auction, a usual thing for us to lead would be like an unbid suit. So if we're looking at our hand, we would probably chime in and we'd probably lead the queen of clubs if partner hadn't said anything. But partner is asking us to do something unusual. They're asking, so if we take a look at our hand, something unusual from this auction would be, well, we're not going to lead a trump. That's not very unusual. We might do that normally. We don't want to lead an unbid suit because that's, again, something that we might do normally. So what partner is probably asking us to do is lead a diamond. There's a good chance that partner is void in diamonds. So the best thing that we can do here is fire off a diamond, and hopefully we're going to find partner with a void. Okay, so that's an example of how the Lightner Double works. And I just have, let's see, I think I have one more example here. Okay, great. So let's take a look at this one. So we are defending against 3 no. I remember seeing an example in a book where North-South had a double fit, bid up to 6 hearts. West faked a Lightner Double, holding 4 hearts and a spade, causing North to run to 6 spades into East's real Lightner Double. That is wild. Like, the kinds of things that you can fake, like, when you were, like, playing, like, against, like, experts, the things that you can pull off with bidding are really, really impressive. That's cool. That is a cool hand. Okay. So, okay. On the first 3 tricks of this hand, 3 spades get played. We played the king. It held. We played the queen, and the declarer won it with the ace. And then they played a spade back to us. And like, you know, normally we might be really excited here, right? Because, well, like, we weren't really expecting to be able to get back in with those spades. We're going to get to cash all our spades. But why would the declarer let us cash all of those spades? Like, what's going on here? Well, let's take a look, see if we can figure it out, right? I didn't give you any information from the auction, so like there's nothing too pertinent happening there. But just looking at what we can see from our hand and from the dummy, there's a solid chance that our partner has length in the red suits. We know that they're short in spades because the spades are 5-3-3-2. We saw 3 from south, so we know partner is sitting on 2. And we have 7 clubs in between our hand and the dummy. So that only leaves 6 between declarer and partner. But we are short in the hearts and we're short in the diamonds. So there's a good chance the partner has those. Has hearts, is 4-4 at least in the hearts and diamonds. If we play out all of our spades, partner is going to get to discard a couple of clubs, and then they're going to have to start discarding their hearts and hearts or diamonds. And what we're doing at this point is squeezing our own partner. The declarer probably is not able to set up enough tricks in their own hand to pull this off. Like they might have they might be kind of a mirror shape. They might have, they might not have they might not have a squeeze card. They might not have the positioning to be able to set up a squeeze themselves. But they're kind of giving us the rope. They're like letting us, they're feeding it out. They're giving us a chance to tighten it ourselves. So if we play out all of these spades, what we're really doing is hurting our partner. We're forcing them to make a bunch of very painful discards, and eventually they might end up, they're going to end up having to unblock the diamonds or hearts, and they're going to, we're going to end up helping declare make an extra trick. So what we can do instead is not take these spades. If we don't take the spades, if we don't just play out all of our spades and we exit something else, we are preventing the declarer from setting up the squeeze position. We are preventing ourselves from hurting partner. So this is a place where, again, this is a common theme when we've been talking about defense. But if you can think about what is the declarer trying to do? Why is the declarer taking the actions that they are? And you can anticipate what their plan is. That is the best way to start taking it down. That's the best way to make a plan against it. Okay, I think I have one problem for us. I'm good of chance for a little bit of, oh right, okay. I went ahead and put the whole hand here so we can see it. Let's see, if we count out the tricks in declarer's hand, we can see that they have a spade, they have 3 hearts, they have 2 diamonds and 2 clubs. So they need one more trick somewhere, and they don't really have any possibilities except for the 4-3 hearts and the 4-4 diamonds. So there's a potential, if they can set it up, there's a potential squeeze here if the hearts and diamonds are both guarded by the same person, which they are. If we go ahead and cash all these spades, we're going to force partner to unguard one of these suits, and that makes an extra trick for declare. Okay, very last one here, and then we're going to be calling it a day. Okay, I don't have a problem for guarding against squeezes, but I do have a couple of opening lead problems for us. And they're essentially the same problem. We have the same hand, same auction. The question is just, what do we do if it's this exact auction? And then what do we do if partner doubled? So I'll give everybody a little bit of time to think about that one. Feel free to type your answers in chat, and then we will have a go at it. Okay, I'll give just a few more seconds in case anybody wants to chime in here. And then we'll go over this one. I would lead a club if partner doubled. Okay. What about if partner didn't double? I'll give a small hint. Think about a passive lead versus an active lead. What's suggested by this auction? And is it going to be more beneficial for us to lead passively or lead actively? Okay, let's see if we can piece together what's happening here. So we have 2 club bid from south, and then 3 diamonds by north. 3 diamonds, I'm guessing. If partner probably it didn't double, probably a diamond. Okay, cool. So 3 diamonds by north should be a positive response in diamonds, I'm guessing. It eats up a lot of bidding room, but I'm guessing this is a long, strong suit by north. Honestly, have no idea what's right. That's fair. I think these are kind of tricky. I think that's one of the reasons it ends up left towards like the very last chapter that we're looking at. So over top of the 3 diamonds, South says, my suit is hearts. So between the 2 of them, they're saying that they have 2 strong suits. They have strong diamonds and they have strong hearts. Then North is totally happy with that once they find out about the hearts, and they go ahead and put them into Slam. So if we're looking at this, the suits that are unbid here are clubs and spades. And based on the fact that they have shown 2 strong suits, it's more likely that it's very likely that the opponents have to avoid taking 2 losers rather than trying to set up tricks. And since they need to avoid taking 2 losers, the best thing that we can do is take an active approach. And if we want to take an active approach on this hand, it's going to be very similar to that first example we looked at. We want to lead a small spade here. If we lead a small spade and we catch partner with the king, oh, for some reason I thought South's 5 clubs showed clubs. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, that was a. I think we have a key card auction here. In this case, we're going to lead a small spade. If we catch partner with the king of spades, then when we get back in on lead with our ace of hearts, we'll be able to quickly cash our queen. This is not guaranteed, but it's going to work out a little bit better for us than just leading one of the unbid suits. Then, if partner doubles the contract, okay, double should lead a diamond. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so if partner doubled the contract, they're asking us to do something unusual. So, a usual action would be leading an unbid suit or leading a trump. So, if we want to do something unusual, that leaves us with leading a diamond. So hopefully we're gonna throw a diamond directly into partner's void, and then we'll go ahead and give them a ruff, and then we'll get to take our trick with our ace. Okay, that's all I have for this chapter.